Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and very warm welcome to Pakistan TV. You watching World This Morning with my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha, Rehan. I happen to be Shahzad Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Eesha, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. I feel absolutely brilliant today. However, when I woke up, I was engulfed in a spell of chilliness. I had to bring 2 to 3 extra blankets upon myself because it rained last night and it rained the day before that, and Islamabad is once again engulfed in a very chilly spell.
Exactly, and as you speak of that, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that as of now it's 16 degrees early in the morning on a Monday morning over here in Islamabad. And you know what, Eesha, so now I don't know how my body is actually going to calibrate alongside the changes of the weather that we get to experience. Because earlier, in summers, I was waking up at 7 in the morning, I would go for a 15-minute walk, do my stretching, then have a black coffee, sit down, look at, the profiles of my guests, what are we doing today, and probably invest 1 hour at least into looking into how the show needs to be planned. But just today, when I woke up at 7 a.m. in the morning, I was like, I cannot get out of the blanket. So I actually kind of snoozed my alarm, and then I didn't wake up till 8, and then I was like, oh my God, that's not right. But for people who are out there, ladies and gentlemen, it will take a bit of time for you to kind of acclimatize, but let's take a good look at what stories have we brought. So first things first, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the highlights. Obviously, it was a welcome befitting a close friend, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim was all smiles as he greeted Prime Minister ShehbazSharif on his arrival in Kuala Lumpur for an official visit. The Malaysian Prime Minister's official Instagram account was replete with photographs of him receiving Prime Minister ShehbazSharif, walking hand in hand with him and sharing a healthy laugh. Not just that, in today's day, what's going to happen is that the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia will be exhibiting and launching his script. The name of the title, or the title of the book, is a script, which will be launched or exhibited in Urdu translation, and the Honorable Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan will always be there. We will speak about the Memorandum of Understandings which will be signed. The Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, a lot of other individuals are actually accompanying the Honorable Prime Minister. So that's exactly what we will be talking about in the first segment.
Definitely, it's great to see this friendship develop and the diplomacy ties strengthen. But speaking of diplomacy, all eyes of the world are on Egypt right now because of the indirect talks between Hamas and Israel and Trump's 20-planned peace accord, which is definitely going to probably bring peace in Gaza. And Hamas is set to begin, this peace deal is set to begin in Sharm el-Sheikh under the framework of President Trump's 20-point Gaza ceasefire proposal. The plan described by Trump as a great deal for Israel and the entire Arab world aims to secure the release of Israeli hostages and bring an end to months of devastating violence in Gaza. The residents of Gaza still describe exhaustion and displacement, with many saying that the skies have eased marginally and the destruction remains constant. And our prayers and hearts go out to the people in Gaza. We hope that aid reaches out to them. They're not starved anymore. They receive a lot of health benefits and a lot of food as well, and our hearts are burned
exactly
out.
And we do wish to see that that all the atrocities and the genocide that has been taking place because of Israel in Gaza is actually put an end to, and in addition to this, that the people of Gaza could actually build back better. But while we are speaking about building back better, unfortunately it's Pakistan cricket which has not been able to build back better, because just yesterday it was a Super Sunday once again, where India women and Pakistan women in their ousting came together in Sri Lanka, but unfortunately the result stays the same, where the Indian women actually defeated Pakistan women by 88 runs. Indian women batting first scored a total of 247, where in reply the Pakistan women could only do 159 in 43 overs, couldn't even survive the all 50 overs. We will be speaking about it, what's pretty much wrong within Pakistan cricket and the way that we have been developing our players. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're heading out towards a short break. It's a fine Monday morning. It's a cold Monday morning over in Islamabad. Stay with us. There's quite a lot coming on the other side. Good morning. right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us, developing the story with the Honorable Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Muhammad ShehbazSharif, is on a 3-day visit to Malaysia, and his Malaysian counterpart and he himself, while he was being received at the airport, were all smiles. But to look into what the details are of his trip, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we have been joined by our senior correspondent, who happens to be Mr. Shabbir. Hello, Shabbir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Shahzad, absolutely fine. You know, the weather in Islamabad is stunning today, so feeling very good.
I'm watching as of now that you're not even wearing a jacket. You must not be feeling the cold.
We hope you don't get cold, Shabbir. So please make sure that you stay warm for the upcoming days. And speaking of exciting days, let's speak about the 3-day visit of the Honorable Prime Minister to Malaysia. How is this opportunity going to unfold for Pakistan, and why is this so crucial? We saw the both prime ministers exchange a lot of candid moments in between. How is this friendship strengthening and deepening?
This is indeed a long-lasting, time-tested friendship which started in 1957 after Malaysian independence and continued over the decades and flourished a very strong friendship. And this particular visit, we have witnessed how the Prime Minister was received at the airport by his Malaysian counterpart, and then today in the morning when he reached his Malaysian counterpart's place, he has been given a warm welcome, not only warm welcome, guard of honor, and then also both the leaders engaged in bilateral discussions. And then both Pakistani and Malaysian Prime Minister addressed the media in a joint press takeout where they have informed what transpired in their discussions so far and what is their vision to take forward this all-weather historic friendship to a new heights. And few good news for Pakistan that has been given by Pakistani Prime Minister, that during the discussion, his Malaysian counterpart Anwar Ibrahim has agreed to enhance to give a quota of $200 million to Pakistan for halal meat exports from Pakistan to Malaysia. And also, both countries agreed to enhance their cooperation in the field of agriculture, tourism, information technology, also AI, and then tourism, higher education. So because higher education is also very important, because Malaysia is the only Muslim country apart from Europe and United States and other developed countries where around 4,000 Pakistani students are getting higher education. So both countries are expected to sign an MOU to enhance higher education cooperation as well. Then there are MOU signing ceremonies where both the Prime Minister will witness it, and they are expected to sign 5 MOUs, one in developing tourism sector, then higher education, then that halal certification, and preventing and combating and preventing corruption, and small and medium enterprises. Also, there would be exchange of note for training.
Exactly. And Shabbir, in addition to this, what I would certainly want to ask over here is, because this convoy is being led by the Honorable Prime Minister, who else is a part of this convoy? Because, for example, the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, who else is other than the Honorable Prime Minister joining the convoy? And, what's happening? Because today, we did get to know that today there will be a book launch of the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Anwar Ibrahim, which will be translated into Urdu, and then a press statement will be given, right?
Yes, Shahzad, that already has been done. Prime Minister's delegation also included Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Senator Muhammad Akbar, and Minister for Information and Broadcasting Atal Tarid, and also Special Assistant Prime Minister Mr. Tariq Fatmi. They are the main part of from the cabinet side, and there are all other officials from Prime Minister Office, from Foreign Office, and relevant ministries. They are also part of this delegation. And already both the Prime Ministers had launched that Urdu version of Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's book script, and that Prime Minister also speak about that book in his joint press takeout. That took almost an hour, half an hour before your show, and during that joint press takeout, Prime Minister described it a very good connection between Kuala Lumpur and Islamabad, Kuala Lumpur, and Peshawar.
Wonderful,
Definitely.
Shabbir.
Thank you so
Wonderful. Thank you
much.
so much for your time and thank you so much for updating us and our audiences out there in probably more than 100 countries, ladies and gentlemen. But I think, it's a happy day. Now,
It
imagine
is.
that the kind of diplomatic ascent we have been talking about, and I'm sorry that I kind of brag about it as well, but
You should.
imagine
We
that
should.
if I am to kind of share with all of those people who are out there, Pakistanis, the expats, that the kind of prosperity Pakistan has witnessed in recent years is something which is unbelievable. Now imagine talking about the stock exchange, if not just that, foreign remittances, if not just that, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of health, in terms of education, Pakistan has been progressing. The civil diplomacy, the military diplomacy, we have seen at all times high. And in addition to this, imagine that the kind of relationships now Pakistan share because of the true leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, alongside the military leadership. I think that we have done phenomenally well for a
Exactly,
country, and it's such a
exactly.
great time to be alive, alhamdulillah. And for the Honorable Prime Minister, Mia Mohammed Shehbaz to be received by his counterpart, and how, his counterpart's Instagram account was replete of his pictures of the
The
warm
candid
gestures that
moments.
they had together and the candid moments that they had together is something that Pakistanis are proud of, alhamdulillah. And for us to kind of witness this history in the making, ladies and gentlemen, is something which makes us keep our heads high.
And exactly as our correspondent informed us that a lot of crucial agreements are going to be signed, a lot of MOUs are going to be signed and dealt with, right, regarding IT, infrastructure, and what excites me the most is halal food. So, hopefully we'll be going to Malaysia and receiving a lot of yummy, yummy food. But to speak more about how this diplomacy and economic ties are being strengthened between these two countries, we actually have Mr. Shahid KIANI joining us. He happens to be the
Former High
former.
Commissioner of Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Shahid Sahab. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be on your show once again.
Likewise, sir. Likewise, it's always wonderful to see you. And as soon as I see you, I actually feel, for example, in Urdu we say कि दिल बाग बाग हो जाता है. In English we say दिल garden garden हो जाता है. So thank you so much for taking our time. But sir, you've been a former High Commissioner to Malaysia yourself. Let's start from the historical perspective of the kind of friendship that Pakistan and Malaysia has already enjoyed, and then we'll speak about the latest MOUs which have come to our knowledge.
Yeah, okay. First of all, my stay in Malaysia as High Commissioner of Pakistan was extremely, I would say, rewarding. You look at Malaysia, it is one of the most ideal Muslim states you will see, Islamic state, one of the ideal in which there is immense tolerance for everybody. You will see uh, a great tourist destination and a destination where you will see how this country, which was got independence in 1957, now till today has progressed in terms of industrial development, in terms of technological development. It is absolutely amazing.
Exactly. And sir, in addition to this, I'm going to share one of my instances as well, because I was in Malaysia last year, and under the umbrella of State Bank, it was Pakistan Remittance Initiative. And while I was there, I got to see a lot of Pakistani people and Pakistani diaspora who actually have or have been running quite a lot of good businesses over there. So this truly tells us that the kind of exchange that have been taking place. But one of the more other interesting thing was that majority of the men who are actually in Malaysia and are businessmen have married twice in Malaysia as well, and everybody looked comfortably, wonderfully well about this idea. So kind of to see people doing wonderfully well in Malaysia is a conducive environment that Malaysia has given to Pakistani diaspora. Now let's coming down to the memorandum of understanding, and first of all, how well the Honorable Prime Minister ShehbazSharif was actually being received by his counterpart, the Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, and the cordial friendship and the ties that they both enjoy on a national level.
I was, to be honest, felt proud, extremely impressed in the manner. A very impressive guard of honor was given to him. The welcome, you see the body language of the prime minister, smiling, welcoming. So this is something which the visiting heads of government, head of states always carry with them all their lives. This is the warmth and respect they have for visiting heads of government and states. And for Pakistan, this was a return visit of our Prime Minister last year. Prime Minister of Malaysia was here in Pakistan. I was given the same sort of welcome which we got here. The most important thing you will need to understand is You talked about diaspora. Yes, Pakistanis are there. The Pakistan whom I met were heads of multinationals who are living in Malaysia. Then the students who are spread around many universities in Malaysia. There are state-of-the-art universities, I tell you. Extremely, the university, the way they are functioning, the way they welcome other students. And then there is diaspora, other Pakistanis who are working in other companies in Malaysia. So it is, I once again say to you, if you look at the tourism aspect, just forget the other things. If you look at the tourism aspect, it is absolutely amazing. I think we need to learn a lot from Malaysia. And tourism is one aspect which we need to look into, which people tend to forget. Then is trade. Naturally speaking, they are
And speaking on this matter, talking about this strengthening ties, actually, the Pakistan and Malaysian economic agreement, which was signed back in 2007, has been in place since then. However, let's speak about how these MOUs and meetings right now are going to impact Pakistan and Malaysia both. There's going to be agreements on trade, IT, and what we're very excited about is halal food. So, how are these going to develop and build a shared cooperation between us?
halal meat or halal food is an industry which is growing rapidly. I remember when I was there, two of Pakistan leading companies had established their halal meat, sign agreements with them. Please try to understand that there is a halal meat authority in Malaysia. Wherever you talk about Pakistan exports of halal meat to Malaysia, that the halal meat authority will go look at the abattoirs, look at the whole process of how halal meat is slaughtering, cleaning, and the level of hygiene, and these are things which I tell you frankly, I was surprised when I went there that one or two companies who came didn't understand this thing, that there is a whole process in which the Malaysian government will go to the to see and to ensure. Therefore, the people in Malaysia then are satisfied. They are comfortable that the meat which is coming to their country or whatever food is coming to country is has been inspected by the best persons in the country. So this is very important. We have we have 2 3 big companies in Pakistan who are exporting halal meat to Malaysia. And my own feeling is that now with this agreement, or there will be a surge of other companies willing to come to Malaysia to work, but they will have to understand that Malaysia, when it says that it wants to maintain certain standards, and if you look at what Prime Minister was saying in his press conference, he said that you do not worry, we will maintain the standards of halal meat which is exported from Pakistan to Malaysia.
Exactly, and it has sir, come up to a staggering value of $200 million as well. In addition to this, there have been memorandums of understanding, agreement on agriculture, information technology, artificial intelligence, tourism. How do you think, even while you had your stint as the High Commissioner of Malaysia, how do you think that you took all of that responsibility in making sure that that when the government was wanted to translate it into such economic prosperity grounds, how do you think that the High Commissioner of today really needs to translate the government's mission over there in Malaysia?
Just say to you, I there is an exhibition. I do not know if it still continues or not in Karachi Expo, and I took the highest number of businessmen from Malaysia to Pakistan. Remember, please try to understand in each country, for example, each country, I think the head of mission, the high commissioner or ambassador, should understand what this country needs. You have to be, for example, in countries in the Southeast Asia, you have to be a business, you need to be like a trader. You need to uh, be an exporter. You need to lead the team in in uh, in uh, in promoting two-way trade. This is very important. You can't sit in the High Commission and embassies and start writing reports. That is of no value. You need to encourage your own businessmen to come to this country and encourage these businessmen to go to Pakistan. It's extremely important. And that I understood, right? I went from Vietnam, I was ambassador there, to Malaysia. I understood that this country needs a businessman, an ambassador who understands what trade is, what investment is. And Malaysia is a country which has done in the last 3-4 decades amazing in terms of technology, in terms of education, in terms of tourism, in terms of whatever you can think of. Most important thing which they have understood is political stability, which has given them economic vibrancy. That is the reason, and the most of their transition has been very peaceful. So they have always continued to focus on trade. If you look at this press conference of our Prime Minister with the Malaysia's counterpart, all they have been talking is talking about, most of them has been talking about economic and trade. So this is, I think our Prime Minister understands that this is what we need, and let us hope that the MOUs which have been signed or will be signed should be then followed up. The most important thing is following up the MOUs or the agreements. This is something that we need, everybody needs to understand. Otherwise, when you lose interest in it, the other counterparts also loses interest in it.
All right, and since you are an expert in diplomacy, why don't you share with us how people-to-people connections are very integral in these diplomacy stances? We could see how the prime minister and his counterpart were hand in hand, laughing and sharing such such a warm connection, right? And we could actually feel it through the videos and the pictures. So, how integral is this warm diplomacy and a people-to-people connection in taking steps like these?
See, as I said, the message goes from the top. The message which this Malaysian counter prime minister has done is the body language, the way he welcomed him. These are very, very important things which sends a message to the host government that this is the importance which their head of government has given to his guest. So this is very important. The second thing would be, I'm quite sure I understand the Malaysian psychology and psycho, they will be able to, believe it or not, be follow up to get these MOUs and agreements implemented in the true spirit in which it has been signed. So this is something which we should here in Pakistan do the same. I re-emphasize that following up the agreements, you know, that is the most important thing which need to come. Otherwise, what will happen is then if the interest wanes, then the agreements also are of no value except on paper.
Exactly. Thank you so much, MG Shahzad, for being with us. It was wonderful to be in conversation with you. And it's, I mean, for us, it's always a learning curve. And we make sure that you have a good day as well. And since you were already wearing a jersey, I think it's best that you keep yourself warm, just like the relationships in between Malaysia and Pakistan look warm. At this point of time, we're going to head out towards a short break. When we come back, let's take a good look at whether that the 20-point peace accord suggested by the United States President Donald Trump and partially accepted by Hamas leadership, do you think that it'll be in all positives? And that's the kind of conversation that we will be having. We will be joined by a senior journalist all the way from Istanbul, Turkey. Let's see what he has to say right after a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Good morning.
All right, welcome back to all the people who stay tuned to stay informed. You are still watching World This Morning on Pakistan TV, and we are going to unfold a very, very crucial development, and that is about how all eyes are on Egypt right now. The 20-point peace accord by Trump is being reviewed by both parties, Israel and Hamas, and to see how this development is going to unfold and if Gaza is finally going to achieve a peace and sustainability. We actually are going to have a guest in
exactly, and
to talk more about this.
Yeah, and to introduce the guest, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky, just as mentioned before, heading out towards a short break, that we are joined by Mr. Amer all the way from TRT, happens to be a senior journalist from Istanbul. So, Mr. Amer, first of all, Assalamu alaikum, a very warm welcome. What I'm going to ask you right away is that it's the 20-point peace accord. Now, all eyes are on Egypt and US and the talks which are going to happen. Do you think that Egypt and US will be playing a role of a guarantor? Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for having me in the show, and it is a pleasure to talk to you. So this is the million-dollar question. Like everyone is pondering, like how this deal will happen and how ceasefire in Gaza will proceed. Because there is a optimism on one side, including like me, all the journalists, and all the world leaders who are part of this deal, like U.S. President Donald Trump, Pakistan Prime Minister ShehbazSharif, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. They have also expressed optimism that this time we are very close to a ceasefire and end to the atrocities and barbarism and genocide which is carried out by Israel in Palestine. It will end and we are very close to a deal. But I spoke with, apart from this optimism, I also spoke with the journalist in Dar al Bala in Gaza. There is a still hope from the people that there will be some sort of a sanity will prevail from Israeli side, and there will be a ceasefire, and hopefully Trump will manage to exert his pressure on Netanyahu, and Netanyahu will come to the table, and there will be a ceasefire. But this is all happening because there is a lot of lack of trust. And when we are talking about lack of trust between Palestinian and Israelis, and it is not just between Palestinian and Israelis, it is also on all fronts, like even between the negotiators. After the Israel's attack on Qatar, there is a lack of trust and lack of trust between negotiators, and then this lack of trust goes on even in US and Israel, their leadership, like there is a lack of trust between US leadership and Israeli leadership. And there is also a lack of trust between Israeli people and Netanyahu. I spoke with the journalist in Tel Aviv and the hostages' families, and they are not willing to trust Netanyahu, and they are saying that we our only hope is President Trump. Hopefully, he will manage to make Netanyahu accept this deal, and there will be a release of hostages, and we will hopefully see our hostages released, and there will be a deal. So we all are hoping that there will be a deal this time, and we all are expecting this, but still there is a lack of trust between all the parties.
All right, thank you so much for sharing those accurate views with us and speaking more about this matter. As negotiations continue in Egypt, we see that Hamas hasn't fully agreed to disarm and to give political control over. And on the other hand, we can see Israel is still attacking civilians, still carrying out strikes on innocent people while the peace plan is in talks. Can the ceasefire actually be achieved? How successful can it be? And what is Hamas's current stance on this?
Yeah, because this is the main, what will be the next phase. So initially, everyone is talking about the initial ceasefire. Because even today, if you talk in terms of today, like Israeli atrocities are still ongoing. More than dozens of people have been killed in Gaza today, and there are still attacks ongoing. There are many more injured. And then the Israeli defense forces, and they are saying that we are going into the defensive mood. So defensive mode against whom? Because no one, as we have seen, that no one is attacking Israeli forces. It is all the murder, all the atrocities, all the barbarism is Israelis are doing this. There is no one, because Gazans, they don't have any force. There is no other force Israelis attacking. So this is the doubt which is in the mind of all the negotiators and all those who are following, that what will be the next step of this ceasefire. But as far as like negotiations are concerned, all the negotiations, even like U.S. Secretary Witkoff and all the others are in Israelis and Hamas delegation. They are in Egypt, and they are trying to discuss. First is the initial ceasefire, because the situation on the ground is really worsening. Like every day, people are dying, there is a bloodshed. So first step should be, and which everyone wants, like even Gazans more than anyone else want, is an end to the bloodshed, end to the suffering, and then there will be a next step. And for the Israelis and Israeli opposition and US is concerned, the Israeli hostages, release of Israeli hostages is concerned. In first step, they would be looking for that. So hopefully, if this will go through, like there will be a kind of a ceasefire, which I think will be fragile. There will be Israel will be keep on attacking, but there will be a kind of a ceasefire which will be acceptable to Gazans and to like negotiators from both the sides. And Israel can claim that we are agreeing to kind of a ceasefire, and then there will be a next round of talk in which these steps will be discussed and
Exactly.
talk about the permanent peaceful solution and all the other things.
Exactly, Mr. Amer, which is why I'm going to bring to your attention, and I do know for a fact that you know how you have touched base to it, but I would want to kind of bring it to your attention once again, that on October 4th, you know, the Israeli ordered a halt to its violent campaign in Gaza City and to help implement the first phase of the proposal. Now, imagine, do you think that this shift will actually reflect towards genuine mediation on behalf of Egypt or, you know, through Egypt? How do you see this outcome?
You know, this is what I spoke earlier, that this is because of the lack of trust, you know, because Israelis, they are still saying that they are gone into defensive mode. And in defensive mode, they are still, if they are saying, oh, we are attacking in defense. And this is their claim from the day one. So that's why this ceasefire will be fragile. I said earlier that this ceasefire will be fragile, and there will be claims from both the sides that Israelis have violated the ceasefire, and there will be a counterclaims from the Hamas side as well that, there will be the counterclaims as well. So this is a really difficult situation which we the world is facing, and this is a really because Israelis that you can't trust the Israel because they keep on attacking. You know.
But Mr. Ahmed, listen to me on this one. One of the thorniest issues remains Israel's demands for Hamas's disarmament, and which hasn't been accepted. Now, anyhow, how critical do you think is Egypt's diplomatic role here in helping both sides move past this deadlock?
Yeah, this is the optimism of we are talking about. That there is an optimism, and optimism is coming from where? Optimism is coming from all the political forces or all the negotiators. Like optimism is coming from the US president, because everyone is hoping that President Trump will manage to get a deal from Netanyahu, because all other negotiators, everyone is looking towards, no one is willing to believe or no one is willing to trust on Netanyahu. Everyone is looking towards US, and they want US to be the guarantor of this, and they want US to lead all the negotiations, and that is the only hope. Hamas has agreed to the US proposal. They have never agreed, and they will never agree to any proposal which is which is like initiated by the Netanyahu and his regime. So this is the hope that this time it is coming from the US president, and still he is watching for the Nobel Peace Prize. So hopefully we are expecting that he will manage to exert his pressure on Netanyahu, because he is the most powerful man, and without US backing, Israel can't survive in the region, and they can't do such things. So this is the hope that this time sanity will prevail, and US President Donald Trump will exert his pressure, and he will make Netanyahu to accept the ceasefire.
All right, and we have seen how the US and Egyptian mediators are saying this is the closest they have achieved to receiving a full hostage release and a truce. Do you think Egypt will finally help achieve true lasting peace in Gaza through these mediations?
I I had the same question with one of my friend, a journalist who is very close to Hamas, and he said that I spoke with the Hamas guys, and I said, will you agree to disarmament? And they said, no, we will never agree to this on ground, maybe in terms of Gaza, we will agree to initial disarmament, and we won't be disarming to Israelis. Maybe we will disarmament with the third party or with the negotiators or with other, but we won't be doing fully with the Israelis as well. So this is because of the lack of trust, and Israelis they won't and Israelis they won't leave the ground as well. That's why they have said that we are gone into defensive mode. Defensive mode means that they will still stay on the ground in Gaza, and they will still stay in the Palestine, and they will still want a control on the. So this will be a fragile kind of a ceasefire. This time, what we expect is that at least the scale of the atrocities, because even in this age and time, we like people are dying for hunger, and famine is there in Gaza. So for everyday Palestinian, even getting a loaf of bread is a matter of life and death. So this is what everyone wants to end, and this is what they are hoping for, that at least if we can achieve this, and in second phase, maybe we will have a larger negotiations of a complete ceasefire and
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Amer, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. But we hope and pray that, that the ceasefire takes place and that Gaza or the people of Gaza could build back better. And for all of those pledges which have been made by all the other countries, may them be Pakistan, may them be Egypt, may it be the Middle Eastern countries, the United States of America, that they stand tall on their promises and help the people of Gaza to restore to their life as to 100% normal. But in it is what is not 100% normal, unfortunately, is the way that Pakistan have been playing cricket recently. So maybe the men's team or maybe the women's team, it does not really look like as if we've been producing, that kind of talent which is supposed to go and represent us internationally. So unfortunately, we did see in Asia Cup how the men's team couldn't really perform, even if they have made it to the final of the Asia Cup 2025. And now if you are to speak about the World Cup, which is underway for women's, the Pakistani women are not able to do well. Now, imagine that even after winning the toss, they were not able to kind of take the right decision, putting India to bat first, knowing that they do not have the bowling capacity to restrict them to a smaller total, which is why Indian women scored 247 in 50 overs, where in return the Pakistani women's cricket team could not even score a total of 160. We're lucky that we've been joined by Mr. Kashif Shabbir, who happens to be a sports analyst. Hello, Kashif. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling?
Walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. Very well. Thank you very much.
Kashif, it looks like as if we're not able to perform in cricket, may it be men's or women's. What's your take?
I think it is all about talent hunt. We are not being able to find the right people for the right job. This is exactly what is happening in the men's cricket, and same is the case with the women cricket. I think you said initially that after winning the toss, Pakistan should have batted first. I think I do not agree to this. I think Pakistan were more relying on their batting strength because they knew that they don't have the bowling strength. They could not defend any total. So they thought that maybe the batters could perform well for them and they can, chase any total. But unfortunately, I think 250 was way beyond Pakistan's control because anything below 200 would have been achievable to some extent. But once they surpassed 200, that was impossible for Pakistani women. And then unfortunate run out of Muniba Ali initially, that was a very strong setback for Pakistan. And then I think for some reason, Sidra Amin, she did not play, she did not show any intent. There was no, chasing intent shown by any batter, whether it was Alia Riaz, whether it was Sidra Amin or any batter. I think that is where Pakistan went wrong because accumulating around 80 odd runs by a batter and consuming around 100 odd balls, I think that was too much for Sidra Amin.
Exactly, but Kashif, if we speak about the required run rate, it wasn't quite a lot as well. So for me, I think I would have. Now imagine if Sidra Amin is actually batting at a strike rate of 76 is something where she needs to think about. You spoke about the intent, but it's the smaller or the middle order partnerships that India actually was truly able to kind of score a magnanimous total in return for Pakistan. Imagine that there was Partika Rawal right at the top, with a 31, then Simriti with 23, then Harleen with 46. And then if you come down the order, there was Jemima Rodriguez with 32, then Dipti Sharma with 25. So anybody who came in, there was a partnership that we could see. But you know, if we move on towards Pakistan now, imagine it was only Sidra Amin with 81, the top of the order, and then it was Natalia Pervez with 33, and then Sidra Nawaz with 14. That's it. Why do you think that our top order fails, middle order fails, and that's not how you will be able to chase, right? So if we know that already, why do you think that you would disagree with me saying that if Pakistan won the toss, they could have batted first?
I think it's the same reason. I would tell you the same reason, because initially if Pakistan would have batted first, they wouldn't have been able to accumulate around 160 or anything beyond 200, which was not enough for the Indian batters. Secondly, we do not have the bowling strength. The bowling strength is very important, and we do not have that. So I think the only chance that we had was, restricting them at around 170, 180 maybe, or 200, and then putting that pressure on our batting side. Because remember, in the last series against South Africa, Pakistan were able to accumulate 200, 250 plus runs against South Africa. South Africa is not a very big team, but still, they were able to accumulate that kind of a total. So we had that batting strength in the batting side. But unfortunately, because of the intent, maybe because of the mindset, because initially nobody was willing to play any stroke. They were just defending as if they were playing a test match. Because after 10 overs, if a team has scored around 20 runs, that is not enough at all. And for a bowler to have, the main striker of India, she gave away only, as I think, 15, 16 runs in the first 8 overs, which was absolutely not acceptable for any team. So that is where Pakistan went wrong. If initially in the first power play, they would have accumulated around 40, 45 runs and losing 1 or 2 wickets, that would have been a different story altogether. But I think the pressure should have been taken by Sidra Amin, because she is an experienced batter, and she's the only one around which the whole team should have revolved. But that did not happen, because all the pressure was exerted on the other batters, because Sidra Amin was absolutely quiet. She was not playing her strokes. She was not accumulating singles or doubles. And if you can
All right, and thank you so much, Kashif, for highlighting what went wrong for Pakistan was that they gave away too many extras in the power play and the death overs, and a lot needs to be changed in accordance to their batting strategy and their bowling strategy to avoid this collapse. But I think let's move on to the upcoming match, and that is about New Zealand's and South Africa's match. So please unfold for us, how do you think, who is going to come on top of this match?
I think it is going to be a very interesting match. Both teams are equally balanced, and I think if I was to judge any team, I would give the better of the side to the New Zealanders, because I think they are in a better position and they can overcome South Africans.
All right, we will see if that happens, and we will be waiting to see if that happens, if they come on top. And thank you so much, Kashif, for taking out time and unpacking for us what went wrong for Pakistan. A lot of lessons to be learned, a lot of lessons to apply for future matches, and we hope to see our women shining and rising once again.
And you look great, Kashif. You look great, just like every single day, and your energy is always on top. But for Pakistan women's, ladies and gentlemen, the World Cup campaign so far has been really embarrassing and distressing, and I hope that that in days to come they will bounce back. And what more to do than be optimistic and positive? And for each and every one of you who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, be positive, have a great day, have a great week ahead. Until next time, look after yourselves. It's a good morning for Pakistan TV. Stay tuned.